Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and this is every Teletoon show ever. Teletoon was launched in October of 1997 as Canada's first ever 24-hour channel dedicated entirely to animation. And all kinds of cartoons, not just those produced directly in Canada, which was a big factor, but also all types of animation from all across the globe. Stuff from the UK, stuff from other countries, and most prominently, a lot of American cartoons. Everything from the entire Hanna-Barbera catalog to the entire Warner Brothers catalog with Looney Tunes and DC stuff, and probably their biggest claim to fame, almost the entire catalog of Cartoon Network shows, to the point where it pretty much became known as Canada's answer to Cartoon Network. They aired everything from Johnny Bravo to Courage the Cowardly Dog to Cow and Chicken to Ed, Edd and Eddy, Kids Next Door, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Chowder, Adventure Time, Steven Universe, you name it. Although the funny thing is, YTV is where shows like Dexter's Laboratory, Powerpuff Girls, Samurai Jack, and Teen Titans aired, but that's a whole other story. But what Teletoon was also known for, other than just being the home of these Cartoon Network shows, was also being this kind of special hub on television in Canada, where no matter what time you were going to be watching it, you always knew you were going to be watching cartoons or any kind of animation. You were going to be watching a classic TV show from the past. You were going to be watching something modern, or sometimes you were going to be watching a feature film, like an animated film released in theaters, or an animated film released direct to video that's either Scooby-Doo or DC related most of the time. And pretty much anything and everything animation you could get through Teletoon, and they had an amazing presentation with creative bumpers and a memorable website you could go to, advertising all over. They even had their own equivalent of Adult Swim called The Detour, which eventually became Teletoon at Night, which used to be hosted by Fred, if some of you remember him. They even went as far as to have their own equivalent to Boomerang with Teletoon Retro, which aired all the old classic Hanna-Barbera, Warner Brothers, old Canadian stuff too, that they didn't have room for because they wanted to focus on the modern stuff. So Teletoon had such a huge legacy, I think, when it came to TV animation and just children's television or adult television, general audience television altogether through Canada. And unfortunately, it was announced this year that Teletoon would be making a huge change. Teletoon would no longer be called Teletoon. It's going to permanently become Cartoon Network, and the Canadian Cartoon Network sister channel, which spun off, is now going to become Boomerang. Which means that even though they're going to have the same shows, the format and structure of Teletoon that has been an institute of Canadian television for the past 25 years is going to be a thing of the past. And the reason I wanted to do this video is because I wanted to showcase everything that this channel has showcased and celebrated with animation for decades now, and seeing how, as of this recording, their lifespan is soon to be over, I wanted to give them a huge celebratory farewell in the form of me listing off their shows. Specifically, I'm going to be listing off their original shows only, because while they are known for all the Cartoon Network shows that you remember watching, they were also huge when it came to producing original content ever since their launch. They would have studios like CNR, Nelvana, everybody else make original animated shows that some of you probably even watched in the United States, whether on Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon or even maybe Fox Kids and Kids WB at the time. So I wanted to do that and list all of them off and give a shout out to some of the great Canadian programming that has graced television throughout Teletoon's lifespan, and showcase everything that really made this channel such an important part of both my childhood and some of your childhoods as well. So yeah, I'm not including any of the Cartoon Network shows or any other acquired shows. There are way too many of those to list off, but I guess shout out to Spectacular Spider-Man, Transformers, and even Power Rangers and whatever other acquired stuff they started to air. So anyway, that settles that. So I'm going to take this time to list off the history of Teletoon as well as Teletoon at Night, since they have original content as well. And without further ado, here is every Teletoon show ever. Caillou, The Adventures of Paddington Bear, Animal Crackers, Captain Star, Donkey Kong Country, Ned's Newt, Pippi Longstocking, Redbeard, Splat, Troll 03, Blake and Mortimer, Nanook's Great Hunt, Flying Rhino Junior High, Bad Dog, Cyber 6, Flytails, Redwall, Toad Patrol, Rescue Heroes, Angela Anaconda, New Tales from the Crypt Keeper, Mega Babies, Blasters Universe, What About Mimi, The Baskervilles, Journey to the West, Legends of the Monkey King, Flight Squad, Maggie and the Ferocious Beast, The Kids from Room 402, A Miss Mallard Mystery, Eckhart, For Better or For Worse, John Callahan's Quads, Marvin, the Tap Dancing Horse, Untalkative Bunny, Braceface, What's with Andy, Undergrads, The Upstairs Downstairs Bears, Pecola, The Ripping Friends, Robo Roach, Edward, Pig City, Daft Planet, Fred the Caveman, Kaput and Zosky, Simon in the Land of Chalk Drawings, 2002, Totally Spies, Oliver's Adventures, Doodles, Clone High, Yakety Yak, Rats, Kid Paddle, My Dad the Rockstar, A Treasure in My Garden, Silverwing, Potatoes and Dragons, Creep School, Atomic Betty, The Tofus, Miss Spider's Sunny Patch Friends, Zero Man, Delta State, 16, Bromwell High, Harry and his bucket full of dinosaurs, The Zimmer Twins, Sons of Butcher, Carl Squared, Delilah and Julius, Gerald McBoing, Station X, Planet Sketch, Class of the Titans, Spider Riders, Skyland, W, Daigata Defenders, Johnny Test, Chaotic, Chop Socky Chooks, Wayside, Bakugan, Battle Brawlers, George of the Jungle, Iggy Arbuckle, Total Drama, Ricky Sprocket, Showbiz Boy, Futz, Tripping the Rift, Punch, Fred's Head, World of Quest, Life's a Zoo, Best Ed, Jimmy Two Shoes, Stoked, Majority Rules, Hot Wheels Battle Force 5, Spliced, The Future is Wild, The Amazing Spies, Metajets, The Dating Guy, Skatoony, My Babysitter's a Vampire, Beyond Human, My Life, Me, Detention Air, Crash Canyon, Geofreaks, Mud Pit, Forget About It, Mad Hatter Chronicles, Rocket Monkeys, Just Kidding, Camp Lake Bottom, Garage Band, Packages from Planet X, Monster in a Box, The Day My Butt Went Psycho, Dr. Dimension Pants, Chop Chop Ninja Challenge, Endangered Species, Pirate Express, Inspector Gadget 2015, Night Sweats, Looped, Freaktown, Cracked, Atomic Puppet, Super Noobs, Counterfeit Cat, The Bagel and Becky Show, Winston Steinberger and Sir Dudley Ding Dong, Toon Marty, Hotel Transylvania, The Series, Wish Fart, Cupcake and Dino, General Services, Bravest Warriors Season 4, Super Dinosaur, Chop Chop Ninja, Total Dramarama, Bakugan Battle Planet, and finally, DN Ace. So that was every Teletoon show ever. It was so much fun to go through this list and talk about all of their original programming and what it meant to me and so many other people throughout the world. If you grew up in the United States or any other country, you probably grew up watching shows like Donkey Kong Country or Ned's Nudes or Totally Spies and Johnny Test and the still ongoing hit that is Total Drama. Speaking of which, I didn't add the Redonkulous Race on this video because they aired it on Cartoon Network Canada as opposed to Teletoon, so it doesn't count by that regard, so I'm sorry. But either way, Teletoon was a channel that was such an impactful part of animation for television and how you could dedicate an entire channel to showcase everything and anything that animation is capable to do when telling stories or showcasing comedy or action or anything like that. And they've managed to do that in ways that appeal to both kids and adults for over 25 years. And I'm really sad to see that go the way of changing their whole identity to just Cartoon Network, as well as making Boomerang a channel here now, and even having the Adult Swim 24-hour channel over here, which is kind of cool still, but the legacy of Teletoon at night being a part of it, and just everything that Teletoon has accomplished with not just airing Cartoon Network shows and all the Warner Brothers shows, but just being a wonderful spotlight to animation as a medium and showcasing all sorts of television and movies and specials and events and programming blocks and everything like that was amazing. I even remember when they had a channel called Teletoon Retro, which was basically Canada's equivalent to Boomerang, and they aired all reruns of Hanna-Barbera and classic shows like Looney Tunes and all sorts of Canadian stuff like the Raccoons. It was simply an amazing channel to watch all sorts of cartoons on for hours on end, and even certain animated movies. I remember some of my earliest memories of watching films like Gremlins, Beetlejuice, Ghostbusters, and even a few other animated cult films like Cats Don't Dance, and some of the earliest Looney Tunes I remember watching through Teletoon. And they would continue to air movies, most of them being from the DreamWorks catalog, and everything that they've managed to accomplish with having an entire variety of programming for not just one demographic, but for any demographic is, I think, truly remarkable, and I'm sad to see it go, but I'm happy to have showcased their legacy and also to showcase some of their bumpers, which will continue to live in my head rent-free as the greatest channel to ever showcase animation in the Great White North over here. Because Teletoon is unreal. I'd like to give a special shout out to this guy for helping me whip together with this video. Could not have done it without him. And I would also like to give a shout out to all the Canadian studios that have produced these shows throughout the years. Fresh TV, Nelvana, Wild Brain, who owns all the DHX Media shows and Studio B production shows, and also Chorus, the company that owns Teletoon, as well as pretty much every other big network in Canada like YTV, Treehouse Global, etc., for keeping this channel as fresh and alive as it truly has been until 2023. Thank you for everything that you have showcased us, Teletoon. You are truly going to be missed. So if you grew up watching Teletoon or grew up watching some of their shows on either Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, or elsewhere, be sure to talk about it below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to. This one's going down in the books. This is a legendary video right here. Thank you, Jimmy.